Dino Crisis was released way back in late 1999. It was directed by Mr. Resident Evil himself, Shinji Mikami. Mikami-san had a really crazy concept for this particular game. He wanted to take Resident Evil and replace all the zombies with dinosaurs. He thought that would be really creepy. And you know what? He was absolutely right. Now, before continuing too far, there is something I really wanted to mention about this. During the time when Dino Crisis was originally coming out, we already knew about or had played Resident Evil 3, Nemesis, Onimusha, and Resident Evil Code Veronica. And that's a crazy amount of survival horror games for one company to make. But you know what? They were all excellent, and Dino Crisis was no exception. But there were people who were a little afraid that it was going to be, just too similar. But boy, were they wrong. This was a really unique take on the Resident Evil formula. Instead of taking place in Raccoon City or in some mansion, police station, or similar area, Dino Crisis takes place on a secluded island, more specifically a research facility on said island. Your mission is to locate one Dr. Kirk. And no, not Captain James T. Kirk, but actually a researcher who was apparently killed in an accident some time ago. For whatever reason, he's been spotted on the island working on something called the Third Energy Experiment, and your mission is to locate him and bring him in for questioning. The second you arrive on the island, you notice something isn't right. The power's out, no one's around, and, well, a short time later, Regina, that's the character you play as, starts to hear screams from one of her teammates, and when she runs outside to see what the hell is going on, he's missing. Now it's up to you to find your missing teammate, and there's actually a second teammate who goes missing a little bit earlier, and also you're trying to figure out what the hell is going on. Now, one of the biggest differences between Dino Crisis and Resident Evil is the fact that Dino Crisis is entirely 3D. Gone are the pre-rendered backdrops, and the result is that Dino Crisis feels much smoother than its sister series. Well, okay, it feels smoother than Resident Evil 1 or 2, that is. While there are still fixed camera angles, having everything in 3D allows the game to have a much more fluid or dynamic camera system, and it makes the whole game feel much more cinematic as a result. The classic tank controls from the early Resident Evil games is featured in Dino Crisis. However, some major refinements have been made in order to help you take down vicious raptors or run away from a really nasty Tyrannosaurus Rex. Pressing the R2 button allows Regina to do a 180 turn, and you can even walk with your gun held out in front of you, which is an absolute lifesaver. Ink ribbons aren't featured here either. Instead, you save at save spots or save rooms. Just run into the room, prepare to exit, and a prompt will ask you if you'd like to save your progress. However, you guys should be warned, there is a ranking system in place here, so if you save too often, you're going to ruin your chances for getting the absolute best score. The weapon and item system are pretty similar to Resident Evil in that you can equip, check, and combine items, but differs in some other ways. Regina can get cut, meaning that even if you use a med kit, you're most likely not going to be able to stop the bleeding. That means only by properly bandaging her will you actually truly be healed. And I really like this realistic approach, and I also love the nice blood dripping effect that happens whenever Regina is cut. It was a really great touch. Regina can also customize her weapons with weapon part upgrades, making weak weapons extremely powerful. One note to make is that you really want to play the game on the normal difficulty mode because easy doesn't truly force you to use the tranquilizer, which is an entirely different mechanic compared to the Resident Evil games, which allows you to put dinos to sleep for a short period of time. Now remember, this isn't Resident Evil here. You're going up against a bloody raptor. This is a vicious creature that is extremely quick. So you don't really want to put this thing to sleep, you know what I mean? You want to kill it, but because this is a survival horror game, that's not an option you have, and that's one of the major factors why this game is just so damn creepy, or, well, at least at most times. Much like the original Resident Evil, you can expect a lot of backtracking in Dino Crisis. There is a keycard system in place here that requires you to locate 2 special items in order to unlock doors to new areas. It can become a little bit tedious after a while, so just, be in the know for that. The other problem I had with the original Dino Crisis was the lack of variety with the dinosaurs. You can count all the different types of dinos on one hand. Now, thankfully, this was fixed with the follow-up, but we'll cover that another time. Dino Crisis is a very nice game to look at. It features extremely short load times because of the 3D backgrounds, and has top-quality voice acting. I love how the ambient noises are used instead of traditional music, although fear not, there are music tracks that play out during key scenes and action segments. It's a really great balance. And here's another little known fact for all of you. Regina is voiced by Stephanie Morgenstern, a Montreal native. Oh yeah! You might also know her as the voice for the English dub of Sailor Venus on Sailor Moon. She's also the co-creator of Flashpoint, a pretty popular Canadian police drama. Okay, let's wrap this up already. Dino Crisis was also released on the Dreamcast, the PlayStation Network, and naturally, what you're seeing here, the original PlayStation. If you're looking for a really creepy Resident Evil style game to play this Halloween, I highly recommend you go check out Dino Crisis. There's a reason why I want Capcom to bring this series back. Go ahead and play this game, and you'll know why.